Welcome, everybody, to Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight. My name is Pete Wright, and I am thrilled to welcome back Jeff Fried, our Chief Technology Officer.
I'm delighted to be here with you, Pete.
Today, we're going to be talking about Cloud Hybrid Search. It's a new capability from Microsoft. It promises to make it drop-dead simple to find content wherever it may live. If you have ever struggled to integrate on-premises content and Office 365 inside BA Insight, this is going to be a big deal for you, and Jeff is going to get you all straightened out. Jeff, where do we start on this conversation around Cloud Hybrid Search?
I think the simplest place to start is with hybrid in general. I see a huge groundswell of interest and early adoption of hybrid SharePoint because organizations that are laying their path to the cloud are discovering that hybrid is the way to get there and potentially the way to stay for the foreseeable future.
What are they seeing as the benefits of making this transition?
There's some classical benefits of using the cloud, including agility, the fact that you don't need to worry about or manage the infrastructure, overall lower cost, because you also don't need to worry about hardware, upgrades, etc. Things are managed for you. Search is one of those areas that is both a big resource user. In a typical SharePoint farm, search is the single biggest use of I/O. It's a big memory user, and most importantly, it's something that takes management. And many organizations don't actually manage search, and fundamentally, that's why they have a poor experience. So the ability to put that into the cloud is a big win for those folks.
To put it into a cloud and be able to confidently feel like they are actually getting the results that they need. I know the experience historically has been, well, if we put it in the cloud, we lose control. We can't manage our own assets, and that loss of control is a real challenge. Even when I plug in a local disk array, I'm not entirely sure that my instant search in my local operating system is confidently able to index all the files on these big arrays. So how is hybrid search different, and what is it doing to make the lives of managers easier?
Well, fundamentally, the idea is that the search index and the processing that goes into creating that index are running in the cloud, and therefore are properly resourced and managed by Microsoft and upgraded, etc., where the content can live wherever it lives. And that is very often a combination of SharePoint that's on-prem, systems that are either on-prem or in the cloud that are outside of SharePoint, and content in Office 365, both in SharePoint, OneDrive, and Exchange. So the facility of hybrid search isn't a brand new thing. Microsoft had a hybrid search facility in 2013. The problem was that the experience really sucked. It was not a single unified index. It was trying to put two things together. They have now introduced a single index running in the cloud. Now, BA Insight has been working closely with Microsoft throughout the development of this cloud SSA. I've probably been working with the Microsoft development team on this for over 2 years because it's not a trivial thing. And even, by the way, with Cloud Hybrid Search in place, this is not automatically, you no longer need to worry about search, but it dramatically reduces the footprint you need. For example, if you have what's called a large search farm that can take 41 servers, and that goes down to 3.
Wow.
The footprint and the maintenance effort of running search are dramatically easier, and that lets you focus on, if you will, the cultural and content aspects of running search, which most people don't take enough time to do because they're trying to keep the lights on, if you will.
Now, your experience working with them for the last 2 years, is it correct to say that you've got the first live installation outside of Microsoft with BA Insight?
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. There's a preview program that has started in October with SharePoint 2013 and now with SharePoint 2016, which just reached the release candidate status last Thursday. So very, very right in the thick of things still. That preview program has been enormously popular. And we've been privileged to be the first to have this facility running outside of Microsoft because we're working within with Microsoft in development. So in our lab, have the first live customer and have worked to both fill gaps and to create brand new solutions that use this facility. So we've really worked all of our products so they take advantage of this facility of Cloud Hybrid Search and also make it better.
Well, let's talk first about these gap fillers. What exactly do you mean by gap fillers, and how is that going to make the existing experience better?
Well, that's gap filler is I'd say a bit of jargon, and I made up that term, but it is something that people inside Microsoft talk about a lot. When you release some capability and there are gaps with it, it doesn't do everything that people need, then occasionally Microsoft looks to partners to provide solutions, and that's the case here. So for example, with Cloud Hybrid Search, there's no facility to process content the way there is in a traditional on-prem SharePoint search installation. There's a API called the Content Enrichment Web Service, or CEWS. That's sort of the bread and butter. Almost anybody that's serious about a search setup will have taken advantage of that and use that API, but it's gone with Cloud Hybrid Search and unlikely to be added. So we've added that back. If people have content processing needs, then that's something that our products provide with Cloud Hybrid Search. Or there's built-in entity extractors historically for example, people, places, things, so that you can identify either things in your language or general entities. That's no longer available from Microsoft. So we've added that to our products so that people don't have any degradation in their quality as they use this new facility. And the complex security environments, which have been sort of an area B Insight's been deep into for 6-7 years, are another area of gap fillers. These get kind of technical, but for example, many organizations still have SharePoint 2010 on-prem and are either leapfrogging to 2016 or saying they want to move all their content into the cloud, so let's leave 2010 alone. You can't crawl 2010 in classic authentication mode, which is simply because of the way the Cloud Hybrid Search stuff works, and that's something that we've developed a solution for. Or if you have multiple domains, let's say one domain that has 2010 stuff in it and another one for 2013, that's also something that doesn't work out of the box that we've added in Facility. So there's a whole lot of things that during sort of this development and rollout process came up as limitations, and one by one, working lockstep with Microsoft, we figured out how to knock them down and make them work well.
It sounds like that's going to help alleviate any surprises, particularly for your customers as they make that transition. But what do they get? What do they get that's new? What can they look forward to as they begin to roll this out?
First and foremost, the ability to bring content from lots of places into a cloud-based index means that you can bring things from lots of places with our connector. So we've got connectors to now 53, 54 kind of systems. And all of that is now available to applications and search centers running in Office 365. And that's been really fun to make work. Our customers tell me it's really essential if you're building a real-world intranet or a knowledge portal to be able to include the content that the users need to get their jobs done. We've gotten some good attention for that. For example, in November, the European SharePoint conference awarded us the most innovative cloud product around this offering of external content showing up in Office 365.
Can you give me an example of a sort of real world customer experience? Because you know BA Insight was already known for these connectors and how well they integrated outside content. Give me an example of something that an end user might experience as a result of this? Can you?
Sure. Let's say that you have a CRM system such as Salesforce or Dynamics,
Okay.
and that's where your knowledge base is and where your information about your customers are. But brochures, collateral, product information might be in SharePoint. Now you can see those together as a single result set, and that shows up in all the applications that are search driven.
Okay, so now now you've lit a fire for me. So now I can see, I can connect in real time without digging the campaigns that actually caused a client to respond between Salesforce and my marketing CMS.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
And this pattern happens over and over in manufacturing. There's product-centric kind of applications where you want to see what the inventory is, what the part setup is, as well as policies that may be just write-ups. You can do that now with things that run in the cloud. Prior to this, there was simply no way to get external content to show up in the Office 365 index. And the area that I'm particularly excited about are the things that you can get in the cloud that you can't otherwise get. For example, there's an experience in Office 365 called Delve, which is a new way to explore information and effectively have the stuff that could be relevant to you available to you easily, right? You're going to a meeting. Office 365 knows the meetings on your calendar. It knows who else is in that meeting. It knows their profiles and things they've published recently and can put right in your face, oh, here's the subjects and materials that are likely to come up. Or you're looking for something and you go, oh, I don't remember what it's called, but that's the thing that Pete showed me last week. And that's all you need to know.
This is the transformational experience that tricks you into thinking that a robust search is actually AI.
Yes.
That it knows what I need to know before I know I need to know it.
Right. And it's using some machine learning facilities that are running in the cloud that take advantage of the breadth of everything you're doing in Office 365 in a way that you really can't do on-prem. It's both very footprint intensive, and also it needs a level of completeness and some data scientists working in the background, which Microsoft is doing. So by providing these connectors, we provide a way to light up Delve with content from all of your essential systems. You know, Pete, another thing that's quite cool that you can do in the cloud that you haven't been able to do on-prem is related to compliance. There's a facility called DLP, Data Loss Prevention, which is active in Office 365 now, and content that has credit card numbers, personal information, things that might be confidential is flagged and brought to a thing called the Compliance Center. Microsoft has worked really hard to make this Compliance Center, easy to create policies, have those policies work across Exchange and SharePoint and OneDrive. And now that works with all the content through our connectors, so that if you want to scan things on a file share or things in your CRM system, in addition to what's in Office 365 with the same policies, it just works. And that's an example of how this cloud hybrid search does more than simply reduce your footprint and maintenance effort. It gives you some new capabilities too.
How do you get people started? What is a transition plan to get people moving with this new facility?
Well, culturally, the people's paths are different, but we have lots of resources available. I was very active this past fall and probably gave, I'd say, 9 conference presentations around this subject in different variants of it. There's material on the BA Insight website. There's stuff I've put on SlideShare, There's public recordings from these conferences. So if you want to learn about it, we have lots of resources. If you want to try it, that's something that we can help people with. And that right now, the Cloud SSA is still in a preview program with Microsoft, but it's very, very easy to turn it on, and we can help people get accepted in that program, or it's actually a self-nomination now. If you want to plan things out, then that's also something we can help with, to look at options, because this is, like any other thing, got some limitations, and it's not for every situation.
Can you walk through some of the limitations we might need to be, the big ones that you feel like we might need to be aware of?
Well, probably the single biggest one is situations where there are data residency requirements. Let's say that you have in your business some degree of confidential materials. Often this happens in aerospace, but also in banking, insurance, almost any kind of product business. You may have restrictions that are due to government restrictions or customer clauses that say this information has to live within this country. Those are called information export restrictions. If you are a big multinational corporation, you have content that is subject to these restrictions, and it turns out that indexing things into Office 365 is not a good solution for you, because that data center, even though Microsoft is busily building out data centers, you're working on one tenant that is serving your whole corporation. And we have solutions for that as well. They're more complex, but you basically leave the data in a local geography that's subject to those restrictions, and you combine it with things that use this cloud hybrid search. And this is a legal question, so I'm not providing a legal official counsel, but uniformly all of our customers have determined that indexing content into a centralized index is the same with respect to these regulations as making a copy in that locale.
Okay.
So access, let's say, Pete, that you were German and you happened to be in England, you can still access things. You have rights as an individual to see that content, and the system provides that. But when you actually make a copy and take the content that needs to live in Germany and put it into a Office 365 data center that happens to be in Dublin, that's where you have a problem.
Well, it sounds like there are some things that you want to be aware of before you jump into this, but this hybrid solution is something that has been hot on the list, or the wish list of many data scientists, information managers. So this looks like it's a very exciting thing, and certainly a big deal for BA Insight. Thank you so much, Jeff. You have all these resources, right? You mentioned all these talks and presentations. I assume you can send those to me. I'll include them in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And this is an area I'm very excited about and very happy to talk to anyone and everyone about it.
Thank you, Jeff Fried, CTO, BA Insight. I sure appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you all for joining us and downloading this show. Don't forget, you can listen to the show anytime over at bainsight.com or subscribe for free in iTunes or your podcast application of choice. On behalf of Jeff Fried, I'm Pete Wright. We'll catch you next time on Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight.